Hello and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. My name is, of course, Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram. Today our Marvel Legends reviews continue with this SP//DR aka Spider Builder figure wave continues, and in front of me we have a double header for you. I thought there is no other way than to review these guys together. We have Cloak and Dagger, Dagger and Cloak, Cloak and Dagger. Now these were definitely the second most asked for review after Doc Ock. For me personally, I really wanted these two figures as well, along with Doc Ock. They were my personal most anticipated figures in this wave. Love these two characters in the comics, love their dynamic, love their story, and I finally have them in figure form. I think Marvel Select had some in the past, never had them. Not too sure if Marvel Legends have done them in the past, probably have, but these are definitely the first time I've got my hands on these two figures. So very happy to have them. I'm happy to show you guys them. So without further ado, let's have a look, shall we? Now, the boxes look quite bland, but I'm sure that's fine. You've got Build-A-Figure pieces for the SP//DR Spider Build-A-Figure for the first time, because we didn't get any with Doc Ock. Dagger comes with some Dagger effects, which is always nice. As I said, I always like when Hasbro give us some effects that show off the character's abilities. And Cloak, well, he has a massive cloak, so I think I'm going to be happy. So let's have a look on the side of the box. The same side art on both sides for the figure, and on the top you get the Cloak and Dagger logo, which I quite like as well. And then on the back you get the same promo art, you get different write-ups, but of course, as always, you get a list of all the figures. In this wave, you need to complete the Spider Build-A-Figure. Today we're reviewing Cloak and Dagger. So cool, without further ado people, let's get these open and see what they're like. Pow, and here you get Cloak and Dagger out of the packaging, looking very nice. Now, white is probably not the best background to show off Dagger, as she is going to disappear, so I will try and darken up the camera for you, but it's probably still not going to be good enough, so I'll probably stand her in front of Cloak for most of the review. So yeah, before I look at the figures, let's just quickly look at the accessories. As I've mentioned, both of these guys come with a Build-A-Figure piece for the Spider mech thing from the Spider-Verse. I'll get into the story of this guy when I do the review, but yeah, we've got two pieces now from this. And yeah, subscribe to the channel, check out all my reviews. As always, I finish on the Build-A-Figure, so yeah, make sure you come back to check out that. It looks pretty good, to be fair. And then also, the only other accessory we get are these Dagger effects for Dagger. Now, I do quite like these because the peg just clips around the wrist and it's quite tight, so you can sort of, I say that as I knock it off, but it is quite tight, and you can sort of twist it around the wrist how you want, so you can get a, looks like she's throwing some Dagger effects. Again, annoyingly only single jointed elbows, but you can definitely get her into some more dynamic poses, and it makes her look like she's throwing her effects, throwing some light daggers, which I do quite like. So she comes with them, and Cloak, well, he comes with a giant cloak. Now the cloak is quite a hard plastic, hard enough for him to rest on, but it's still soft enough you can bend it and open it apart and stuff. Now the hood is a separate piece, but it looks flush in the back. You can't even tell there that it's a separate piece. It does look really nice together. It sort of drapes over the hood. It's sort of molded that way, I guess, so it sits perfectly. And then there's a little clasp here on, obviously, the crest, and it's like a peg, so the peg pops open and you can reveal his body. Now his body is just an all black figure. It looks like a sort of Black Panther figure, to be fair. I'm sure we've seen this mold many times before. You can let me know in the comments what mold it actually is. And it's like a different shade of black. Like the chest and middle torso area is very black, but then the arms and legs are like a more of a dark blue. Like not translucent, but it definitely, like if I bring in some light, it does, I don't know, it's like a marbly sort of dark blue purple effect, which I quite like. I'm not too sure if Hasbro have done that on purpose or it's just the plastic they've used for the figure. If they've done it on purpose, that's a good shout. Now the head, the hood is actually attached to the head, so you can take the head off, not a problem, but the hood stays with the head, unfortunately. And that is because if you move the body out of the way, you get the cape, plug the cape back together. The cape will just sit there on its own, not a problem. And then, as I said, it's sort of molded in a way where you can just rest the head on top of the cape. And that is how we originally seen this guy displayed at Toy Fair, because we had dagger actually coming out from the cloak, like she's been traveling through the dark dimension portals. And yeah, so you can put her half in, half out. Again, I'm terrible at posing, you know the score, people, but it looks good, I promise you. And yeah, so you can have dagger coming out of the cloak, which is a nice touch. Again, I don't know how well you can see it, but yeah, you can definitely go half in, half out. So again, you display people out there, the ACBA community, we have to do that a lot better than me. But it's still a very nice touch. Let me zoom in and show you these face sculpts, because I do think they're quite nice and I don't think we've seen them before. So there is a close-up of the cloak's face sculpt. I'm not too sure if we've seen that face mold before. I don't think so. A lot of people thought it was Luke Cage because of the facial hair, but no, I don't think so. I do think it's new. I like the whited out eyes, and even though for me these characters are teenage runaways, this does not look like a teenager. He definitely looks like a 30-odd-year-old guy with a hood up. So these are definitely the older versions of Cloak and Dagger. So yeah, Tyrese does look like he's aged a little bit, but it's still a very nice face sculpt. Let's bring in Dagger, Tandy, and see if we can get her to focus. And again, I do really like the face on this. At first I thought it was like a repainted Mockingbird, but it looks like it's a new mold because I've not seen that hair before. The hair's sort of in a way so that it shows off that sort of moon crest around the eye. I like the subtle pink lips. But yeah, they're two solid comic book characters and the face sculpts are quite good and will definitely sit nicely on your comic book display. So there you go, there's a quick example of Dagger stepping out from Cloak's dark dimension. It does look really good posed like that. It's a shame that I can't tilt her head a little bit more because the hair sculpt sort of blocks the head from going back that little bit more, so she's looking straight like Cloak, but it still looks quite good displayed like that. And again, there's his body, it's not in there, the hood is just staying on top of the cloak. So Cloak and Dagger, you may be asking, who are they? Well, let's twist up the who is he segment, shall we, and ask the question. Tyrese, Tandy, Cloak, Dagger, who are they? So, this is the part of the video where we ask the question, who are they? And I try and give you a little bit of information about the characters these figures are inspired by. So, Cloak and Dagger, who are they? Real name Tyrese Johnson and Tandy Bowen, these two met as they were teenage runaways who got involved with a criminal chemist who was developing a new drug on teenagers. Ty and Tandy survived these injections and developed their powers. Ty, engulfed in darkness and dark force, had this strange hunger that was only eased by Tandy's glowing light, and she now had the ability to create light daggers while Ty could create some sort of gates to the dark force dimension. These two called themselves Cloak and Dagger and took on criminals of the Marvel Universe as vigilantes. There you go, so I hope that helped. Again, I do not claim to be an expert, but it is nice to have a little bit of information about the characters these figures are inspired by. As I've already mentioned a few times, there is a new TV show called Cloak and Dagger. I haven't seen it yet, but I do plan on watching it. I guess it's in the MCU. But like the Netflix and like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it's officially MCU, but never gets mentioned in the movies. But be very curious to see where this goes, if there's any crossovers. So yeah, let me know in the comments if it's any good, if it's worth a watch. I do plan on checking it out. But yeah, let's get into some comparisons. Now, I was going to go over articulation, but if you collect Marvel Legends and you're watching this video, then I'm sure you are familiar with these body molds. Standard female body, unfortunately no double jointed elbows, and as I said, very similar to other female figures. As you can see, standing there next to Mary Jane, she stands at virtually exactly the same height with a lot of shared parts. Now, Cloak, he is about a little bit taller than your average Marvel Legend. There's Pizza Spider-Man, who's usually at about 6 inches. And he stands a little bit taller, mainly because he's probably wearing a big thick hood, but still he stands a little bit taller, as I think he should, because he's not a small guy. So yeah, it's going to look good on your comic book display, I think. And lastly, there they are compared to the only other figure I've reviewed in this wave so far, Dr. Otto Octavius. So go and check out the videos tab and check out my full review of Doc Ock right now. But these three were definitely my most anticipated figures personally for this wave. Definitely wanted a comic book version of Cloak and Dagger, and definitely needed a Doc Ock for my Rogues Gallery for Spider-Man and the Sinister Six and all of that goodness. And yeah, I really like how you can get her stepping out of the cloak. It's really good. Again, when you can have them on the shelf, it gives it a little bit of personality, and I always like it when my shelf looks alive. And yeah, there's his body. Not even using his body. It's to the side. She's just stepping out from under the cloak, and the head is just on top of the cloak, as I've mentioned. Again, frustratingly, the head's not a separate piece. It would have been good maybe if you got an interchangeable head, but he has always got his hood up anyway in the comic, so I guess it don't make a difference. So yeah, you let me know what you think in the comments below. What do you think of Cloak and Dagger? Were these two figures you wanted to get hold of, or you don't know the characters and you're not that bothered? Me personally, as I said, I'm a fan of this duo, and I'm very happy to have them in figure form. So obviously stay tuned to the channel, as for the rest of the week, as quick as I can, essentially, I'm going to be reviewing the rest of this wave, building up to the SP//DR, aka Spider Builder figure. Very lucky to have these figures in hand, and yeah, I hope you are enjoying the reviews. So until then, people, I shall see you on the next one.